Awesome. Thank you, Tanya. Good morning, everybody. We are really excited to be here. As Tanya mentioned, my name is Maya Ramos Clayton, and I'm the Chief of Staff at the California College Guidance Initiative, or CCGI. And I'm joined by Joanna, as well as our Director of User Support, Christina. And Christina will be managing our chat for us. So today is all about learning about the platform that we manage, CaliforniaColleges.edu, the state of California's official college and career planning platform. We'll also share how the platform fits into the state's long-term efforts to align educational systems to better serve our students. And we want to highlight for you how CaliforniaColleges.edu can help your school district's efforts to help students succeed in life after high school. Before we get started, I know it's a webinar. We really want to emphasize that we want this to be a two-way conversation. So if something excites you or intrigues you, or you have questions, please let us know via the chat feature, and we will make sure to answer those. So before we get into the platform, just a little bit of background on the California College Guidance Initiative, or CCGI for short. We're state-funded nonprofit. We manage CaliforniaColleges.edu. As an organization, we believe, like many educational institutions and organizations like yours, that the future of California depends on the success of all of our students. But achieving this goal for all students, as you know, especially those who have been traditionally excluded from higher education and high-paying careers, has significant challenges, from disconnected higher education systems to economic and racial inequities. And so our goal as an organization is to remove as many obstacles as we can to student success and to help create a smoother pathway for students between K-12, higher education, and careers. And we do this all through our infrastructure, which is CaliforniaColleges.edu. So as an organization, CaliforniaColleges.edu is a platform that we have built to empower students and families by providing them with a one-stop shop for the tools they need to successfully complete their journey from K-12 to higher education. Next slide, please. And the website itself has universal access, which means that it supports a critical part of the data infrastructure for California's new Cradle-to-Career data system, which you may have heard about. It's also called C2C, which brings together early education, K-12, higher education, and social services systems to create better futures for students in California. As you can see here on the screen, the goal, I don't know if we can see, the goal of the C2C legislation is to make CaliforniaColleges.edu available to all middle and high school students by 2026. And you can see that we've made a huge dent, and we still have some work to do over the next several years. So to kick things off, we thought that it would be most impactful for you to hear from students. So we are going to play a short video for you.
I'm JC. I am in 12th grade and I go to Heritage High School. In college, I hope to study biochem.
I'm Katrina Kading. I'm also in 12th grade. In college, I hope to study either nursing or biomedical engineering. I use California Colleges for everything college related. It was what I used to find my interests and my major.
The biggest values would have to be the career quiz. It labeled every career that fits. That made me want to major in biochem because of all the careers that were listed from it.
Using California Colleges to figure out my A through G courses was very easy, so it would keep me on track for what I needed to finish for high school and what I needed for college.
I have used California Colleges by accessing my college applications like California State Universities and the University of California applications and FAFSA.
It made it easier because all of the applications were just listed on one tab.
Having everything in one website, just click to the California State University applications, to the University of California applications, they were right there and it was great.
Also was able to let us download all of our transcripts into our application for CSUs.
The financial aid portion was really convenient. Since my parents had never filled out a FAFSA form before, it made it really easy for me and my parents to understand. Just go step by step and look what we need to get done.
Using the financial aid lessons made applying simple because everything that you needed to do was listed, and it helped me and my mom figure out what I needed to do.
The checklist was really helpful. It just labeled everything that we needed to get done. Once we got it done, just checked it off and moved on to the next step. It was really convenient.
CaliforniaColleges.edu is just like a reality check for everything, that you do have a future and then you need to prepare for that if you are choosing to take the path of going to college. And it provides everything for you if you are trying to go to college.
All right, thank you, Maya, for that introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Joanna, and I will be starting to talk to you a little bit about the different aspects of our platform. So I want to start with the career exploration and college planning tools. So these are free resources that include career assessments and search tools that help students really understand and start from a place of their interests, their passions, what they value, how they think, and help them translate that into career options. There are also college and major search tools that help students figure out what and where they want to study by translating those careers into actual majors, right? Understanding and helping them connect those dots. And students can start accessing these particular tools as early as 6th grade, and new grade appropriate tools become available as students progress through high school. As you can see in this short preview of the tool, students have access to an academic planner, which allows them to either have their information imported from the transcript if we become in a formal partnership and we have a data sharing agreement with your district, or to manually enter their future coursework. They'll be able to see their courses, the grade, where they took the course, and able to either, if they're manually entering, plan their 4 years, or be able to at minimum future plan, right, as they're in high school. Also, you'll see the My Plan. So the My Plan is a centralized, digitalized portfolio that is saving and collecting all of that longitudinal data that they're going to see over the years, their college saves, their majors, the college applications, their career assessments results, their favorited careers, to be able to begin to gather that information as they work with you. Now, those tools are really forward thinking, right? They're currently in high school or middle school, starting to plan for the future. Now, when it comes time to actually prepare in 12th grade, financial aid is a huge conversation to tackle with students. So our platform offers free financial aid tools, which will help them learn what it is, how they can apply for it, launch and submit their application, and how they can actually review their aid offers and secure the aid so they can pay for whatever college they hope to attend. For educators, our platforms help you see your students' progress through the financial aid lessons and to see if and when a student has submitted their financial aid applications. For districts, the platform's built-in data and reporting tools provide educators reports that can be used for compliance with state policies like AB 2015 and AB 469, which require 11th graders to learn about financial aid and 12th graders to actually submit a financial aid application. CaliforniaColleges.edu's integration with the FAFSA and the California Dream Act, as well as the CCC Apply, Cal State Apply, and the University of California application are unique and valuable aspects of our platform. These integrations allow students to launch their college applications and financial aid application directly from their account on CaliforniaColleges.edu. When a student launches their college or financial aid application through this platform, they will be able to track whether they have launched, completed, and submitted their application. Launching from their CaliforniaColleges.edu account also allows parents and counselors to track their child's progress through their own accounts at a glance. We've shared with you the tools and assessments that help students learn and plan for life after high school. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about how our platform supports students and educators in real time while students are in high school to make those plans after high school a reality. So using our CSU and UC eligibility tools, which you can see on the screen, students and educators can see a visual representation of a student's transcript that you all would be submitting to us and sharing with us, and their progress toward completing their A through G requirements. When courses in the CSU and UC eligibility tool show up as green, they are considered pre-verified for the purpose of admission. The reporting tools are designed to supplement and counseling and intervention efforts to increase A through G completion rates, as well as inform future course placements. For instance, the report allows educators to identify which students are just a few units shy of being on track for CSU or UC eligibility, and in which subject area or discipline they are missing those units, or if they have a course that needs to be repeated. To support students, educators need to be able to monitor their progress at every stage of the journey. So CaliforniaColleges.edu educator tools make the process easier by allowing educators to view all of their students at a glance and drill down into specific student records so they can identify the most effective intervention for a student who needs it most. Educators can see reports that show them which students have completed our career assessments and which careers have been favorited. You can also see reports which show which colleges and majors have been favorited, as well as whether or not students are on track to meet the A through G eligibility requirements. And you can track college and financial aid applications completed and submitted using the verified rather than self-reported data from the higher ed systems and the California Student Aid Commission. So that's quite a bit of information about our platform. I'm going to pause here. If Maya or Christina see any important question they want to highlight. Otherwise, I know they're monitoring the chat.
Yeah, not just yet. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So feel free, continue to drop your questions in the chat. Maya and Christina are on it.
Megan, you're gonna Megan, your question, we're gonna get to it. So we're not gonna pause to answer it right at this moment.
So we learned a little bit about what students think, their experience with our platform. We learned about the actual platform. And now I want to give you a little bit of the educator perspective, educators like yourselves, and what they have to say about one of our features that we're actually going to do a little demo on to give you all a sense of what that looks like. So we're going to hear from educators on our financial aid lessons.
I was very excited to see the financial aid lessons. This is already created. There's nothing we have to do in addition to it. It's a built-in user-friendly system.
I was able to click on it with the students. We did it together. We did those first 2 modules, which took 20 minutes. I mean, with questions and answers.
Our students often comment, that was easy. And that's really the best commentary that we can get. We want them to feel like, wow, you know what? That was every bit as smooth as I hoped it would be.
We don't have to create separate materials. There's already videos on there. And so it saves that classroom component and instruction.
The financial aid plan takes them to the steps that they can do. And the to-dos was really nice because the kids actually clicked on there. Okay, I did that. Okay, you can't click it if you haven't done it.
You're not searching around saying, okay, I got to go to this website. Let's go to FAFSA.gov. We're in one central place with all of the essential pieces and all of it linked together.
I think that's a huge benefit. The lessons are already built in and they're self-paced and it's intuitive for the students.
Everybody says it was really clear, to the point, that it made sense. And it was their language. It wasn't too wordy. It was specific, which made sense for the students.
The financial aid tools really support counselors and make their jobs easier by putting everything into one centralized place.
This has a lot of potential for us, especially with the FAFSA or the DREAM Act mandates that everyone has to complete.
The reports are easier too. I pull reports every week. I think it was super easy. I didn't even get trained this year.
We can run regular reports to drill down and see where our students are in the process. I can now click on a specific student and get specific information on just that one kid.
It saves counselors a lot of time, which of course is always going to be a benefit to our very, very busy site counselors.
I have 520 students on my caseload. So I have 100 and something per grade. It just made it so much easier, you know? I'm just so glad for this because this should be happening with all students. I think there should be all districts doing this from day one, freshman year.
So if there's anything that resonated with you all, made you all excited, or you raised more questions, again, feel free to drop those in the chat or the Q&A. And now we're actually gonna go ahead and do a demo of our financial aid tool. It's still, you know, financial aid season, right? I know that the priority deadline passed, but students are really in the thick of it right now. So we want to show you our financial aid lessons. So give me one quick minute to just set up my screen here for you all. Okay. Okay. So I have gone to CaliforniaColleges.edu and I have signed in as a 12th grader. This is a fictitious account, so there's no real data, no worries. We're all able to work and play with this account. You'll see here I'm working with student area D demo, a 12th grade student. This is their landing page once they sign in. So we'll see the big green button, the My Financial Aid Plan, which is what we're going to walk through right now. And then the My Activities, which of course, if you all want to continue to see the rest of the platform, we're happy to show you that at a later point. Something that I want to point that I think is really exciting, being a first gen myself, is we have these videos of first generation students who share a little bit about their experience with the platform, with the college and career planning experience in general, and the financial aid process. So I feel like it's really good for students to hear that there are other students like themselves feeling those emotions and experiences. So we have that, and it's exciting. So we're going to go to the My Plan. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this is the digitalized, centralized portfolio where students have all that information that they're learning about themselves, that they're learning about their post-graduation plans. And we're going to go to the My Financial Aid Plan, or we can also click here at this big green button. So the My Financial Aid Plan is encompasses the 6 modules that are available in 12th grade. I want to note that financial aid lessons can start at 6th grade, so they're available from 6th to 12th grade. But right now, given that we're in a 12th grade account, we're only looking at the 12th grade. Again, financial aid is most relevant at the 12th grade. So this grade has the most modules, having 6, starting in September to help students prepare to complete the FAFSA or the CADA, all the way down to May, where they're actually securing state aid. And I think this is an exciting piece of our lessons, because most support that I've seen walk students to understand what a FAFSA is and let them know about a deadline. Very few resources are out there that actually help students review financial aid offers and secure state aid. So I'm going to go into the first module and walk you through a lesson just to give you a sense of what it looks like in a student's experience. So we're starting with the September, completing the prep work for FAFSA or CADA. It has 4 lessons. You can see that these lessons often have a resource link, an icon, and if we click it, it's curated information by CCGI with links for more information as it becomes important or they want to dig deeper into when they work through those lessons. Some lessons have to-dos. This first one doesn't, and we'll see why it's just foundational, but the next one does, for example, and these are actual action steps for them to take in alignment and support of the process of completing this FAFSA, since we're in the September module. These are self-reported, so students can mark as done or undo them as they work through it. And then you'll see the status, which can be completed, in progress, or not started. The first lesson has been completed, so we'll also see a green check mark on the left-hand side. So we're going to go into the lesson. At the top, we'll see the title of the lesson, Prepare to Apply for FAFSA or CADA, and the estimated time it'll take a student to actually complete this lesson. Again, these are self-guided, self-paced lessons for students, so it's really up to them. But generally, you should estimate a time of 12 minutes. So our lessons start with key facts, important takeaways that they need to walk away with, right? Since this is the first lesson, what is the most important things for students to walk away with? That you only need to fill out one application, right? Oftentimes that's not always clear, and that you might need your parents' information for the FAFSA or the CADA. Students can navigate through the lessons using the left navigation bar, or can just click the next slide button down at the bottom. So every lesson starts with an introduction. If you glance at the first couple of sentences, you will see that it's actually pretty easy to digest and understand. So we're looking at a 6th grade reading level. We've removed all the bureaucratic educational jargon that we often hear in financial aid, especially to make sure that students are able to actually have a self-guided lesson. But you will see that we actually have words that are in bold, because we're actually having to help students build vocabulary and foundational knowledge, right? Especially in this first lesson. So you'll see FAFSA and CADA are in bold, and they're actually also defined, right? What does FAFSA stand for? The next, again, since this lesson is foundational, it's the first one, we're starting to build that vocabulary. This next slide shows the dependent versus independent definition and helps students begin to understand who, where, in which category they might land, again, because this will matter when it comes down to providing parents information. This next lesson slide defines who is a legal parent, aka whose information you actually need to submit for the financial aid. Some of these lessons include FAQs like this one that help students kind of work through that information. So as we know, family configurations are extensive and so different, which often leads people wondering, like, what about my family, my circumstance do I need to do for FAFSA? So this one can actually answer that question for them. So for example, my parents are divorced, but they live together. Do I need both of their information? Yes, you'll need both. So it helps students determine which information they will need from their parents. Now, the even more important part of this lesson is that it actually helps students identify which application is the correct one for them based on the qualifiers. So they can pick either FAFSA or CADA. Now, the reason why it's important is that it actually, the rest of the lessons and the application that they can launch to is curated based on this decision here, right? They can change it if it hasn't been submitted, but it helps prepare them. So our lessons will actually be adjusted to make sure that it walks them through preparing for the appropriate application. So we're gonna pick FAFSA, and then it concludes with the key facts. Any questions? Feel free to drop those in the chat. Maya, if you want to.
Yeah, so Joanna, we have a couple questions. The first is, do any of the financial aid lessons touch on other financial aid applications required by private colleges, like the CSS profile?
So these lessons are, again, curated for FAFSA or CADA, depending on what you choose. And we just want to name that because we are part of the Cradle-to-Career data system, we are a state nonprofit, we are focused on California public education systems. Now, there is financial aid content that they can learn about private colleges and therefore understand that, but it won't actually link them to a private financial aid, any other type of financial aid application for private colleges. But information is there to learn about it.
Awesome, thank you, Joanna. And then another question, we find that we have to teach all the acronyms, COA, EFC, et cetera. Is there a lesson that shows students, how to read the financial aid information they receive upon receiving an offer of admission?
Yes, there is a lesson. I'd have to dig through, I can't remember which one it is, but yes, if we have them, you can see here, we have them check their college portals, they have review their financial aid, so compare them, accept or decline. So yes, there is that later in the lessons.
Cool. And then how would you suggest using these tools with middle school kiddos?
Great question. So actually that takes me to the other piece I want to show you also. Here up at the top middle right, there's a gear icon, and if we click it, we can see that we're currently in the 12th grade account, but this 12th grader still has access to the previous lessons, right? So as I mentioned, 6th to 10th grade has one module with 2 lessons, which Intro to Financial Aid and the Cost of College. So there are lessons available for those grades. Now, how you would use them, I would say that I'd probably say it really depends on your district, right? There's best practice out there about how people use them, right? If you use them in an advisory, if you like where, you know, which teacher, which counselor, how you incorporate them into your day-to-day is really dependent on you all. And I will add that we have a virtual training team where you can join our virtual trainings to learn about different, you know, how to use them. You see other educators thinking about that, sharing that. Folks who are in formal partnership with us can join regional planning meetings. So you're hearing from other educators about best practice, you know, challenges and how to address those. So even though we might not be able to answer, we do convene spaces where you all are with your fellow peers to learn about things that are happening across the state. Okay, I hope that answered your question. And I will show one last well, a couple of last things. So again, if we go back to the gear icon, we can see that my financial aid app is FAFSA. Again, we haven't submitted it, so we can still change it, right? As some students learn about different situations and realities that might be applicable to them. Another thing that is really cool that our students mentioned in the video is our FAFSA checklist. So this is a checklist that helps students know what are the documents and information that they will need to complete their application. I think it's exciting to be able to check it online and see that little, check mark come out. Some people you might want to print it so students can do it by hand. So that is available for them. There's the big goal to do is just a global summary of all the to-dos through all the lessons, so you can see a high-level summary. And then here is the exciting part, which, well, I think it's exciting, and that FAFSA is always so complicated and really scary to think about. You're gonna give, such sensitive information, and there's so many websites out there to know what is real. I mean, I didn't know that .gov, that it was official, right? .com is usually what you hear. So this is the part where this gold button, it's gold because we can actually still submit FAFSA or CADA. It will be grayed out in the time where you can't, but right now it's gold. And if we click it, it will actually take us to the FAFSA.edu.gov website, which is the actual website to submit our FAFSA. Again, if we were, and my internet's not cooperating, but if we were in a CADA application, it would send us to the appropriate, right, for us to launch our application and work on it. And then this information icon gives us a status. So I haven't submitted it, but I did launch it today on the 3rd, right? And then a status of our Cal Grant GPA verification, which hasn't been verified yet. Any other questions you want me to pause for, Maya? Oh, we're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to jump back into the deck. Give me 1 second. So I hope you all saw something exciting for your students. Saw how, I'm sure you all have been in spaces and conversations when students with financial aid is just hard to understand and it feels super cumbersome. And I hope you all can begin to see how for students, it could actually feel more realistic, right? More manageable. So we've seen a lot of things that our platform can do, and we really want to pause and think about your specific school district goals, initiatives, and students. As educators within the K-12 system, you serve students who have experienced systems in different ways, who have different dreams and needs to navigate high school successfully in order to make those dreams a reality. I'm sure many of you are aware that students face challenges on their way to obtaining education, that the education they need for the career that they want or they aspire to. And these challenges can include disconnected K-12 and college systems, differing and often conflicting state and local standards and practices, student data being lost during the transition from K-12 to higher ed. So while CaliforniaColleges.edu is not a tool that will solve all the problems, what we're trying to do at the very least is address the disconnect between local higher ed and statewide systems so students can students who have aspirations really can connect those dots, right? Easily navigate and be able to successfully achieve their education goals. So we want to take a moment for you to reflect on how you could leverage CaliforniaColleges.edu to support your district's goals. And please feel free, if you feel comfortable, if you have ideas, if you're excited and you want to share how you think you can leverage it, feel free to drop that in the chat and share with us all. Could it support you with engaging or re-engaging your students academically, right? We're still in a pandemic, students are still coming back, and helping them understand why school matters to them. Could it help you build college-going culture or increase the number of students graduating A through G ready? Could it help you increase the number of seniors applying for college or financial aid? Could it help supplement counseling and intervention efforts? And if so, how? Could it help make the path into the workforce more clear for students? Or is there something else altogether that it could help you, could help your district? So
Yeah, no, Joanna, so we have a couple, keep reflecting and please post your reflections maybe in the Q&A, but we have some, I think it's getting people thinking. So does the site allow students to also create an open CCC account for CCC Apply and apply to community college is one question. I'll let you answer that. And then we have another one.
Yes, students can launch their CCC Apply from the CaliforniaColleges.edu. They can do for CCC Apply, CSU Apply, and UC, University of California application. For those districts who become formal partnership in the sense of, again, of having a data sharing agreement, the CSU system right now allows for the transcripts that are verified and uploaded into the CaliforniaColleges.edu account to course migrate into the CSU application. And that, I know that's going to open up a can of worms and have more questions, which we're happy to take, and of course can meet with you all offline to learn more about partnership and the CSU integration feature. And
Tara, I'm not sure how to pronounce, to your question about having an access to a list of students who received a Cal grant so we can talk them through claiming their grant. Joanna, correct me if I'm wrong. So the platform will show if students, if their Cal grant GPAs have been submitted, but we do not currently visualize if they have received a Cal grant.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Because in the information icon, it just says Cal grant GPA, yes.
We have no more questions, Joanna.
Okay, great. So I will leave you all with this question to keep reflecting on and keep thinking about what is happening at your district, what is happening with your students, and how you can really tailor this platform to meet your students and your district where you're at, and really help you move towards those goals and aspirations that you have. So let's keep reflecting. And as you keep thinking about exciting new ways, I mean, please, if you have innovative ways of how you can use the platform, like I'm sure we would all love to hear about it, keep dropping those in the chat. So again, I will pause. We were right in some questions, but I will pause in case there's anything else. Maya, you want to highlight?
No, the only other question we got is if the session recording will be sent out afterwards for reflection. It sure will. Yeah.
And you can email me your reflections. I'm so be excited to hear. Okay, so thank you all for being here. We're almost at time, but before we are, we want to make sure we provide you with the necessary information and support to build awareness across your district about the exciting tools that CaliforniaColleges.edu has to offer. So first, as you consider if and when you would like to bring CaliforniaColleges.edu at your school district in a form of partnership, we want to give you a general sense of the onboarding process. Don't be overwhelmed if the stuff on here doesn't make sense. It's just to give you a general sense of a timeline, right? Because often when you think of a platform, when you think of integrating stuff, it can feel overwhelming. I remember I used to support my principals in Oakland. So I want to just give you a sense of a general timeline. And you can see that we're currently actually in an application cycle that wraps up June 15th. So we can actually start, you can actually start the process of becoming onboarding into a partnership. But just to give you a general sense that there's a timeline for a cycle, right? An application cycle, which is triggering the onboarding process. And you can see that there's a span of time for every step of the onboarding process. So it isn't rushed, but it also isn't super slow, given that we work with your district to determine if and how we want to move through the different components of onboarding, right? It starts with the application cycle, like submitting that. you all planning and thinking, attending a launch meeting, going into contracting and MOU. There's some data alignment work. Again, if we are in a data sharing agreement, we're going to support you with data alignment, specifically around A through G courses and mismatch. Again, because we want to see verified data, right? If we're thinking of the CSU course migration. And then go live essentially means your accounts are ready to go for your students to begin using them as early as February 1st of next year. Again, this is just the current cycle. The next application cycle opens July 15th. I'm looking at you, Maya, to confirm. July 15th, I think. Yes, July 15th. So there's iterations, right? Iterations of cycles. So please do not feel overwhelmed, but also know that our process takes into account district realities, that there's different folks to have conversation with, different steps to take. You know, there's a whole MOU bureaucracy component to that. I remember submitting things to my board. So just knowing that our process and intentional and thoughtful of keeping your experience in mind. And not only is our timeline on the logistics side thoughtful, but we also provide guidance and support along the process, right? Both as you onboard and as you become an actual partner and begin to use the platform. We provide, we have a technical assistance team and a user support team that provide technical assistance, right? The support through the data cleanup, for example, user support that helps you all with account issues or, you know, logistical issues that you might have on your accounts, all kinds of things that come through, and our team is super responsive. We have a virtual training team that helps you all as you are using the platform to continue to learn about the different features, continue to leverage how you might want to use it, leverage convening spaces with the fellow educators through regional planning meetings. And we have office hours. So we, you know, our team is super prideful in being available and accessible as people to your folks, to be in conversation as you all have things that might come up in the moment and you just really need to talk to someone because you couldn't figure it out. So we shared a lot of information with you today. As you take the time you need to process what you've learned and what this could mean for your district, because we know that in order for things to change, right, meaningful and sustainable ways and have a real student impact, it takes true collaborative efforts. So we want to leave you with a couple of really easy steps. Well, easy is, you know, when we talk about thinking, it's not always as easy as we think. But first, identify which members of your team need to be brought into the conversation, right? If you're thinking of bringing on this for your district, who needs to know? Who are the folks that want to know, right? What staff, what stakeholders, what collaborative spaces are already thinking about this, are already on their way. This could really be a tool to leverage the work that they're thinking about, or they need to begin to understand what is CaliforniaColleges.edu to start connecting some of those dots, or start seeing what you see in terms of being able to leverage our platform. And second, let's schedule time to talk to the people that you're thinking about, right? We want to make sure that we provide you all with the support of building awareness across your district about these exciting tools. And we want to support your collaborative efforts in building authentic interest and bringing this platform to your students and educators. Can I pause for any questions, Maya?
No, we're good.
Okay. So we want to thank you once again for being here. I think we ended a little early, so I'm hoping it's exciting that you all are getting some time back, but we'll stay on if you all want to continue to drop questions or drop of reflections. We're still monitoring the chat. Please feel free to reach out to us at the email that you see on the screen. If you want to be in continued conversation, learn about other parts of the platform, or you need support in thinking about, you know, this is our initiative, our investments, this is what we're thinking about at our district. How could we leverage this platform? We're happy to do some thought partnering with you all. But thank you again for joining us.